I guess how I felt withdrawn, nervous, anxious. I had all those fears, those worries, those anxieties all built up inside me, and I didn't know what to do. I was in a real dark place, and I was lost. I was alone, very lonely, and there was only one thing that sort of comforted me was drink and drugs, and it was hell. It was absolute hell. You know.
People in the north of Ireland are 26% more likely to have a mental health issue than people in England, Scotland or Wales. We have the highest rate of suicide and self-harm in the UK.
A recent report has showed that young people's mental health concerns have rose from 18% in year 8 to 53% in year 12. More than half of young people surveyed for this report said that they can handle it on their own or couldn't talk to anyone about it or are too embarrassed to say it.
It is estimated that 45,000 children and young people have a mental health problem at any given time. We decided to do something about this. We interviewed people from our community and affected by poor mental health. We asked them for advice and they told us it's okay not to be okay.
My name's Esther Macon and I lost my son to suicide. He was 31.
My name is Margaret Walker. I'm the Centre Manager of Suicide Awareness and Support Group on the Falls Road. I lost my brother to suicide in 1999.
Hi, my name is Brendan Lowe. The worst part of me was finding my mother dead by suicide. I think that was the start of my bad road of destruction, where I started to spiral out of control, going downhill. Everything. I lost my kids, lost my job, lost my house, lost my licence, lost all respect for myself, lost dignity, my whole self-wellbeing. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to die.
The worst point was he had attempted it a few times and I got a phone call from police to ask me my name and address, got all my details, and then said to me, "We have your son here with a rope around his neck." That was the worst point.
I think the difficult part of my role is going to families home. So when we get that call to say there's been a suicide in the community and the family needs support, the difficult is going into that home. And when we go into that home, it's like a recorder. You hear the same story. Every home you go into, they were the life and soul of the party. They had planned a holiday. I was talking to her last night. She was in great form. And that's what's very, very sore for that family, because the question is why, and they're never going to get that answer.
My name is Chris Kerr. I first realised I had a mental health issue when I would say about 6 months after my dad passed away. I was basically pretending that it was okay, as opposed to, owning up and saying that I wasn't right, and putting on a mask for my friends and my family, and especially my mum and my sister at the time.
My name is Chelsie Sparks and I am a youth worker with YMCA Ireland. I think I first realised I had a mental health sort of issue maybe when I was about 14 or 15. I remember spending a big long period of time in my room, not really being able to get up in the morning, be able to go to school, and just struggling with sort of social interaction in general. Then I thought it was something else, maybe it was just a phase going through teenage years or something, but now when I look back with the knowledge that I know, I was actually probably having my first episode of quite severe depression and anxiety at the time. So when I was sort of in school.
My name is Paddy McDonnell and I'm a stand-up comedian. The first time I realised I had a mental health problem would have been when I was 27. after an assault on myself, and I was in the hospital. And from there I didn't really know what way to deal with it, or where it would take me to, or how to cope with it. And I think that was the worst stage. That was when I first realised when I was 27.
Living with a mental health difficulty has different days. Some days are great, some days are a lot harder than others. But as I say, it varies. Some days I'm on top of the world and I'm flying, you know, I feel good and ready to take on the world and do my job to the best of my ability. Other days I really, really struggle. That could be just because, you know, I'm petrified to leave the house, or I've got something on my mind that's, you know, going round and round and round. But anxiety can make some days really almost unbearable. But I do know that there are good days at the same time.
What it's like to live with a mental health issue, it's not great, obviously. You know, it can be very lonely. You find yourself, you know, no matter if people are talking to you or trying to help, you know, you're isolating yourself away from people. So yeah, it's not good.
He's very, very good at covering it up and wearing that mask that's on in the advertisements. He went to parties, he enjoyed his life as we thought, but that wasn't Thomas.
At the very start, when I first realised I had a mental health problem, I did try and hide it. I tried to hide it from my wife and my family. I think I felt a bit embarrassed that I had it, and now I know I shouldn't have had it. The hardest thing about was the stigma of it. Because I had a mental health problem, I felt that people would have judged me, or I felt there was something wrong with me, and I felt that people would look at me different or treat me different, or wouldn't take me serious anymore, or wouldn't like me anymore. I think that would have been the hardest thing of it.
I suppose it was all difficult. Keeping it all building up for such a long time was probably the hardest bit. Not letting anyone else know, going to Gaelic training, going to work, letting on I was okay when I wasn't. And then when I was on my own, it was like, you know, your world's upside down. Where the other people, I was, you know, pretending I was okay when I really wasn't. So probably, I would say the letting on that I was okay when I wasn't was probably the hardest bit. To be fair, the playing and training was probably my escape from it all. I could go away for an hour of training or a game and completely forget about it for an hour or so. I suppose when it got to the stage where it got on top of me, where I didn't want to go training, something that I love doing, something that I've done from the age of 5, and all I ever wanted to do was play for St. Gall's and play for Antrim. So when it became like a chore going to training or dreading training and matches, I suppose it was difficult, but it was an escape at the same time, so it did have an effect, yeah.
I tried to hide my feelings and emotions around my own mental health maybe when I was a little bit younger, but in recent years I think people have got a lot more accepting and they're willing to sort of have a conversation with you about how you're feeling. So I try my best to be open and talk about it. I think my job as a youth worker needs me to be open about things like that. So I do try to promote sort of talking about mental health in a positive way in my work and in my personal life as well.
The best coping mechanisms I probably have is exercise, speaking to people, letting people close to you, friends, family. It doesn't have to be the world. It could be a small circle of people that, you know, if there's any issues, keep on top of it. I suppose not making mountains out of molehills, making things out worse than what they actually are. Being in control of what you're thinking, being in a good routine of eating, exercising.
Speaking to people about mental health helps me cope with it. Speaking with people who's had mental health problems, the more people that I talk to about it, the more help I was able to get from it. And I think the first thing, accepting that you have a mental health thing, also helps, because then you can deal with it. But my comedy career helped me with my mental health, and I find that the more gigs that I do and the more I can talk about mental health and get it out there, that it helps my mental health and it helps me to cope with it a lot more.
Things I do to help me cope with my mental health problems probably would be gym first and foremostly. I train sort of boxing and MMA about 4 nights a week now, and I have seen a massive growth in my own sort of wellbeing and how good I feel on a day-to-day. The bad days are becoming less and less, and I definitely think exercise has a massive part to play with that.
I'm sober now over 2 years, and the changes in my life have been, it's like a life beyond your wildest dreams. And I mean, I didn't think I could ever sit here and talk in front of people and talk to you guys and answer questions about my life. And
you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. At times it is hard. You end up in dark places, you know, thinking along the lines of suicide, not wanting to be here, and then you think of, you know, the aftermath or the effect it would have on the people that you care about, that are in your life.
My advice to them would be, I'll help you, I'll be there for you. I will go every step of the way, which I told Thomas. I will go every step of the way with you. I've been there, I've done it. And if I can help you in any one way, I will be there for you.
One piece of advice I would give to someone, in particular a young person who's maybe struggling with their mental health, is to be brave, to speak up when and as you can. It might just be, you know, sending a text message to one of your youth workers, or, you know, just asking for a quiet word to the side. You can't say anything, and you don't want to be the person who speaks out, but please, please do. There's always someone there who's ready to listen to you. Someone's always there with open ears and an open heart, ready to, you know, give you support and give you what you need. So if, any young person that's struggling, just be brave and speak out.
I just wish I had reached out sooner. You know, that's the message that we're clearly giving out here today, is, you know, reaching out is a strength. You know, it's not a weakness, and it's okay to feel not okay. Can't stress those 2 sentences enough, you know.
Talk to people about it. Openly go and speak to people. There's a lot more people than you'll believe out there that can help you, as a lot of people have experienced this and have been in the same shoes as you can be in. So get out there, tell people how you're feeling, and you'll be surprised how much help there actually is for you.